In this lecture I'm going to show you how to configure subnetting. Subnetting is one of the most important topics on the CCNA exam. So with this topology, I've got 3 branch offices, and each branch office has a LAN segment and a WAN segment. So this is branch office 1, branch 1, there's branch 2, and here's branch 3. Each branch office has a LAN segment that has a number of hosts connected. It's all variable, and there's a WAN link to the data center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure subnetting on each branch router as well as the data center router. And subnetting, the purpose of it is to use classless addressing to modify the subnet mask based on the number of network interfaces or hosts that you require on a LAN segment or a WAN segment. So for the WAN segment, I only need 2 hosts. There's an interface on branch 1 and an interface on the data center router. It only requires 2 hosts or 2 network interface addresses. So I'm going to use a /30 subnet mask for that. When it comes to the LAN segment, I've got 12 hosts connected. So there's 12 desktops, for instance. It's a VLAN if you want to think of it like that. So the VLAN's only got 12 desktops. So I'm going to use a subnet mask that only requires that only makes available 12 hosts. That's a /28. Over here I've got more. I've got 25 hosts. So I've got to use a subnet mask of /27. And over here I've got even more hosts, so I have to use a subnet mask of /26. So if we go to I've got a table here I can show you. So these are the WAN segments. So I've got the host names here, all 3 branch offices, and they've got a link to the data center. So I've got 3 different subnet. Each link between a branch office and a data center is a different subnet. I'm going to start with 192.168.16.1 for branch 1, and I'm going to assign the data center side of that link to 16.2. And for branch 2 I'm going to use 16.5, and on the data center end I'm going to use 16.6. They have to be in the same subnet, and they're each separate subnets. And for branch 3 I'm going to use 16.9, the data center side 16.10. So these are /30 subnets. So for branch 1 the network address would be 16.0. Then I can start using 16.1 and 16.2 for that subnet for host addressing. 16.3 is a broadcast address, so you can't assign the network address or broadcast address to a network interface. So 16.4 would be the network address of the next subnet. So that's for branch 2. So the first IP address available would be 16.5, and then 16.6 for the data center side. And then .7 would be the broadcast address. So the next network address or subnet would be 16.8. So 16.9 would be the first IP that I can assign from that subnet range, and then 16.10. So it's only 2 host addresses per subnet. That's all I need for a WAN link. And these are the interfaces I'm going to assign the IP addresses to. Now on the LAN segments, it's slightly different. These are based on VLANs, or the number of hosts per VLAN. So for branch 1 I've got 12 hosts. So I'm going to start with a network address of 192.168.10.0, for example. And branch 2 is going to use 11.0, and branch 3 is going to use 12.0. So this is going to be for my LAN segment. And these are the interfaces I'm going to start assigning. This is going to be the assignment to the, actually it'll be the default gateway on the router inside interface, the LAN interface I'm going to assign. It's called a default gateway address. So these are the subnet masks I'm going to assign, and this is assigned based on the number of hosts I need for each subnet. So I'll go to the subnet, Class C subnetting table here. If I need 12 hosts, what I do is I do a lookup here, and the closest I can get is 14, and that's a /240 subnet mask. I'm going to get a couple extra, but that's okay. And the next one would be 25 hosts for the VLAN on branch 2. So for that one, I'm going to have to go to the next one. That would be 224, because that'll give me up to 30. So I'll have 5 extra. That's okay. And branch 3 has 60 hosts required, so I need to go to a 192 subnet mask for that, and that'll give me 62 hosts a maximum. So it'll give me a couple extra as well. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the WAN segments between the branch offices and the data center router. I'll start with branch 1 and start configuring interfaces. So we'll go to branch 1, I'll go to the command line, enable, I'm going to sign on, and configure terminal. So the first thing I'm going to do, based on this drawing, I've got 3 WAN segments here. Yes, there's 16.0. These are network addresses, 16.0, 16.4, and 16.8. So I'm going to assign 16.1 to branch 1 interface, and 16.2 to the data center. And this is going to be this segment here on branch 2. I'm going to assign 16.5 and 16.6 to the data center side. And on branch 3 I'm going to assign 16.9 because their 16.8 is the network address. So 16.9 to the branch office interface and 16.10 to the data center interface. So I'm going to start over here with branch 1, interface FA10. So that's the interface here. This is going to be 16.1. So it's just an IP address, 192.168.16.1, and then the 255.255.255.252 subnet mask. And that's called a /30 or a serial subnet mask, is what it used to be called. And it just gives 2 interface addresses that are assignable. Then I'll do a no shut, and now that's turned up. So what I want to do is go over to the data center router, assign 16.2. So I'm going to configure terminal. So 00 is the interface. IP address 192.168.16.2, and same subnet mask. Okay, so there's 16.2. So there's 1 and 2, and then a no shut, and interface is turned up. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go over to branch 2. And I want to configure the IP addressing there. So I'm going to start with 10 on branch 2, and that's going to be 16.5. So 192.168.16.5, and then my correct mask. Okay, so 16.5, make sure everything's correct, and then a no shut, and state change to up. I'm going to put 16.6 on the data center router on 10. So I'm just going to go up arrow to 10, interface 10, and this is going to be 16.6. And what else? Then a no shut. And that's fine. Next thing I want to do, I want to go to branch 3, and this is the 16.8. So 16.9 is going to be assigned to FA10. So I'm going to go over here and start that. So interface FA10. Okay. IP address 192.168.16.9. so it's 16.9, that's correct. Correct interface. And no shut. And it's up. Next thing I want to do is configure 2.0. So that's going to be 16.10 on the data center router. So I'm just going to up arrow here so I don't make typing mistakes. It's a little easier. So 2.0. And I'm going to IP address right up to 16.10. Here it is there. And the mask is correct. And no shut. So that configures the WAN links. So next thing I want to do is I'm going to go over to the branch router now. And I want to do the 2.0 interface. I want to put an interface. These are layer 2 switches. They don't have IP addresses. There is an IP address on the host, of course. So this 2.0 is a default gateway for the VLANs. So that's going to be now LAN segment. So if I go back to my table here, the LAN segments, I'm going to start with branch 1. I'm going to start with 10.0. And so I'm going to assign 10.1 to the 10.1 is already assigned to the host. 10.1 through 10.1 through 10.12, for example. So I can assign 10.13 or 10.14, or I could just assign 10.1 and then 10.2 to the host address. So in this example, I'll just do 10.1 for the gateway address. So what I'll do is I'm going to assign 2.0 here. There's the interface. So I'm on branch 1, so I want to do 2.0. So I want to go to 2.0 here. And I'm going to do an IP address 192.168.10. I'm going to assign 1 here. And 255.255.255. And it's a /28, so the /28 mask is a 240. And if you want to verify that, go back here. There it is, it's a 240. I'm assigning here, and that gives me the correct address. Okay, so that's assigned. And I'll just do a no shut. So next available address for the host would be 10.2 and right up to 10.14. So next thing, I'll go to branch 2 and do 2.0 as well. So I'm going to find 2.0 there. So that's the default gateway. The IP address is going to be 192.168. This is the 11 subnet now. This is one I'm using 11 here. I'm going to assign 11.1. I'm using a different subnet this time. I'm using another one, /27, and /27. It's a 224. So I have to use 224 there. Okay, so there's 224, 11.1. And a no shut. On branch 3, I'm going to do 2.0 as well, so there's the 2.0 interface. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go select 2.0, an IP address 192.168.12.1, because this is using the 12 subnet for the LAN segment on branch 3. And 255.255.192 is actually the 26 is the subnet mask for the number of hosts of 60. Then I'll do a no shut. Okay, so everything is currently configured. I'm going to go back to hosts. I'm going to change the gateway there to 10.1. And this would be now 10.2. So I had to go with that. Same thing here. I have to configure the right default gateway. So there's 11.1. There's 11.2. 11.2. And over here, it's the same thing. So the default gateway would now be 12.1. I just decided to start with 12.1 instead of, say, 12.14 or 12.2. So this is the IP address, is the next available IP address. So everything's configured correctly there. Now the next thing is to verify connectivity. So I've turned up some interfaces, so I want to make sure that they're active. So IP interface brief, show IP interface brief. And that'll show me the, so it says 16.1 and 10.1 are up and up. So that would be, so if I'm on branch 1, so that's 1.0 and 2.0. So that's correct. In branch 2, I can do the same thing. Show IP interface brief. So it shows me 1.0 and 2.0 up, and there's the IP addresses. Up and up, that's layer 1 and layer 2. In branch 3, and same thing. Status is layer 1, protocol is layer 2. So 1.0 and 2.0, 16.9, 12.1, that's what I configured there. They're showing as up. If they're up, then the data centers will be up, because you can't have an up and a down. In this case, there's 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, and 3, 0. So 0, 0, actually there's 4. They're all up actually, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, and 3, 0. So 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, and 3, 0. 3, 0 was the local LAN segment for the data center. So everything looks fine there. So now, what I could do is try pinging something. So here's the data center, 172.16.3.1. So what I can do is go over here in a command prompt. So there's from here, from host, this host here on branch 1, I'm pinging 172.16.3.1. So I got a couple replies, and that typically when you only get a couple, that means the ARP table is just hasn't updated on the routers. So now I'm getting all 4. Notice that. So there's connectivity there. And the next thing I want to do is go over to host 2 or branch office 2 and try to verify there's network connectivity to the data center. I'm going to do the same ping, 172.16.3.1. And so I'm pinging from here right over to the data center. And I'm getting lots of replies, so getting all 4 now to 172.16.3.1. So that verifies layer 3 connectivity over to the data center server. And the last one I'm going to do is branch office 3. So I'm going to ping the same thing. 3.1. That sends a ping right over there. And I got 3. Let me try it again. There it is, all 4. So I verified the interfaces are up. There is layer 3 connectivity. I could even do something like web browser as well. And that verifies right up to the application layer. So I could do HTTP 172.16.3.1. So this opens up a web page on the onto the data center server. So ping verifies to layer 3. A web page, HTTP is an application layer protocol, so it verifies right up to the application layer. Just something there to verify as well. So that concludes subnetting.